All right. Last but certainly not least, Integration Studio. So yeah, I'd like to talk a little also about Development Studio. So Integration Studio is designed to be the cloud development environment for a variety of different types of users, whether it's a systems integrator, an end user, we use it for demos, things like that. It's designed to facilitate easy development in the cloud and just to work with your on-premise development systems. So the first being, first I'll just touch lightly on is our Development Studio package that it's relatively new. It's designed to be a way for people who purchase AVEVA Operations Control to access all of their entitlements in one location. We just released it. It's in its infant stage. We're talking like just emerging from the womb stage right now. So we do have plans for it to be something much broader and bigger for what than it is now. But I'll just show briefly it right now. And I'm going to have to give access to just my particular window to try to make it a little easier on you guys to be able to see it. So let me see here. There we go. So there we are. So this is an AVEVA Connect account. And if you don't already have an AVEVA Connect account and you want Integration Studio or whatever, then we can set that up for you. But this is designed to be the account that was set up for your company. Shocker. So you do that, and once you've enabled the AVEVA Connect account, you can have different solutions enabled with inside the account, being Insight, Integration Studio, Development Studio, all the classic AVEVA products, engineering. Anything that's cloud related, we are focusing it in the AVEVA Connect. Authentication and etc. would all be done through there. All your user management would all be done there. This is just a tab here. We can see all that, all your flex credits that are used for cloud stuff, which is separate than the GCS sort of standard flex credits. But that would be available here. You can see your services catalog. I don't have much available in this account. It's really just these three solutions, either Integration Studio, Insight, or Development Studio. This enables you to access your solutions there. We also have a concept that are called folders within AVEVA Connect. What that does is that lets you organize your solutions on your format, whether it's a folder for developers, a folder for training, a folder for support, or whatever. You can have them or a site. You could say, site 1, site 2, site 3. You can have the solutions set up that way within that sort of structure that you got. In this situation, there's just a folder dedicated just to Development Studio. And so I'll do that. I'll go in here like that. We have someone very excited about Development Studio, I could tell. So I'll enable it, or if it's been enabled, I'm entering it here, and there's nothing more exciting than a scroll bar. Can we just give it props for scroll bars? There we are. So we have our entitlements, and then we have our cloud storage. There's not much there. You can just take a look and see how much you're using. We have lots available in this account, but currently really was only being a consumer of the cloud storage, and we're working on new things that are going to take advantage of storage. But right now it's a lot of just graphics. So you work on you log into InTouch or the IDE or whatever, and you store your graphics in the cloud. You can develop them on premise, store them in the cloud, and then through Insight, you can, or another application that you also connect to the cloud, you can access that storage and then import them that way. So this is a little brief overview of how much storage that you're using. We're going to add to that in the future. And we have our entitlements section here. And this goes over everything that this particular account has access to. And again, like I mentioned earlier, this is AVEVA Operations Control packages that you've selected, and the various subscriptions are enabled here, either the Edge, Supervisory, Enterprise packages that John mentioned early on in the program here. But you'll see each one. So this is the Edge one. This is all the Edge stuff that you've got. Supervisory, because you could be members of multiple different things, and these products here as well. So let's say we have our supervisor. Let's check out system platform. I don't know what system platform is. What is this thing? So you go in and take a look at it, see what it is. You could look at a video about it, look at the version notes, etc. You could look at your downloads available for it, stuff like that. One other thing people might not see it is. You can go in and learn more about that. If you have Operations Control, you have access to it, so you can take a look at it and download it there as well. on that topic. Here we have the add-ons. So these are the add-ons that are available as a separate package within Operations Control. You can take a look at them. There's some of the great stuff that Jeff was just talking about there. Okay, so what are we doing to do in the future? So some of the things that we're talking about doing is having a centralized development environment that lets you take applications, store them in here, develop the assets and things like that, and then export them to different applications. That's a very cool feature. It's coming the end of this year and the early next year. We're really excited about that, so look forward to it. Other things we're doing, we're going to expand the capabilities of this entitlement section to add third-party add-ons. Stuff that are available on our site, but they're kind of in disparate locations. We want to centralize that to make it easier for users to be able to access them. In the a little bit further future, we're working on integrating Integration Studio into this environment where they're all sort of one package in one way, form or another. Either they talk to each other or they work together, where within this environment, you'd be able to then check out a machine with it running and to go into Integration Studio with it set up. So on that note, let's go into Integration Studio. I'll go over some of the new stuff available there. I actually have a different solution that I think I want to go over. This one is really crowded, so I'm going to just stop sharing really quickly and then share a new window. See here. The next best thing to a scroll bar is watching somebody figure out how to do backend stuff. So here we are. So I'm in Integration Studio. Just real brief what it is. So basically, it's a cloud environment or a virtualized infrastructure that we set up for you in the cloud. So when you get access to this through your development licenses, we can go in and create these virtual infrastructures for you. So let's say you have your factory or your plant or your customer's factory or plant, and it's got a 10 node system out there, and each node is doing its own particular thing, and you want to be able to develop for them. Well, you don't want to develop on the on-premise machines. You want to develop in a sandbox environment. So typically, you have to have a separate environment, virtualized or otherwise, on-premise or in some other location. This provides that location for you. It's in the cloud, and you have access to it, and only you have access to it, and you grant users access to it as you see fit. So I'll go over what it's like to create one of those things. So here we have a project template that I'll create. And this is a template that's going to essentially be a set of instructions for the system to create VMs in a certain way. So I'll give it a reference here. This will be, let's call this 2023 reference architecture. I can't spell reference, so I'll just let it figure that out. And I can give it a description if I want to, but I don't really feel like it right now. And then we have this concept of a system suite definition. So system suites are effectively like the box set of disks that you get when a certain version, or I guess we used to get. We don't know if we do that anymore, but it's the box set of disks that you get. So let's say the new version comes out, 2020 R2, you get it, and everything that's in that set is all compatible with one another. It's all designed to work with each other, and you're good to go. And it's everything that you have licensed, etc. This is sort of like that. So I'll select this 2023 one. I'll give it a default region. I'll go next. And now I want to add some nodes. So how many nodes do I want? Well, let's say I wanted to make it a 3 node. Did I say that earlier? So this will be the GR node. And then I say which one it's going to be. I say, so, well, it's 2020 R2 SP1. And that'll be this system platform. It's actually SP there, but it's actually system platform. And then you say what type of machine it's going to be. So this is going to be this super descriptive name, high performance standard _ DS3 _ V2. We'll see what that means in a minute. But this is basically the code of that VM. So let's say I want it to be this 3 one here. I add that, and you can see, well, it's a 4-core VM with 14 gig of RAM, and it's going to cost me 0.068 credits every hour. Okay, what does that mean? So those are the Flex credits that you've got. So if you have a Flex account, you transfer those Flex credits to Connect, and then once you do that, it'll go and burn down those credits as the machine is running. And again, only when the machine is running will it consume these credits. So there we go. So we got that. I'll make another node. Okay, we'll call this runtime 1, and that'll be the same VM there. And maybe we'll do another one. This will be runtime 2. Yep, you guessed it. And this will be like a little bit more powerful one. And that's, you can see that it's a 8-core and it's a 0.137 Flex credits per hour. Okay, so we got that. We know our hardware we're going to be setting up. And then we say, well, what's the role of each particular device? This is where you basically select what's going to be installed on it. let's see, my GR node is just going to be an all-in-one. It's just going to have everything. My second one will be, let's see, this will be my runtime client. I have 2 runtime clients. Okay, good to go. I got that. As I mentioned earlier, we're only charging you for the VMs when the VMs are running. So if you want to save some cash and you don't want to avoid, or you want to avoid unexpected charges, but the machine's running over a week when you're not using it, or over the weekend or whatever, we have an automatic shutdown scheduler built in. You can do it based off of the duration. So you could say, you know, after 24 hours, shut the machine off, or you could say it over a specific time of day. Let's say in the situation, I want to go home early, and I'm going to say it's, let's just say 5:20 to 1 p.m. That specific time it'll shut off. Actually, what it'll do is it'll give you a notification that it's about to shut off, and you can delay it if you want to. Go from there. Last screen here is more of a summary, but it also has the ability to set whether it's public or private, and this is within your organization. And you can set whether or not users or administrators can see it, and set that right there. It can be changed later. It's also just an overview of what you selected. If all of them are running, it's going to be 0.273 credits per hour, the shutdown schedule, etc. Do that. You would click Create Project Template. I'm going to avoid that now because I've already got ones that are very similar to that setup, which would be like this one here. Actually, this is 2020, but oh yeah, same one, R2. And so I set it up, and then I started it up. I installed my demo, and you know, I did my configuration. I added users. To the application. I configured the application to work and demo with Teamwork. Actually, I'm demoing the Teamwork web widget connector within that demo. But now I want to recreate that. Well, do I have to do all it over again? Well, you can if you want to. You can click Create Instance, and it'll create another instance of those VMs, but it'll be like the ground up. You have to start over again. They're all brand new, freshly installed VMs. What you can also do now, which is new, is you can go in and clone it. So I can go in and say capture instance, and what that'll do is it'll create a new.
Brian, I'm going to interrupt you. I think you stopped sharing. I think you stopped sharing.
Did I?
Miraculously.
I can still see your screen, Brian.
Oh,
I still see it too.
oh,
Yep.
I can see it.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Never mind.
Sorry,
man.
Tim. You're
Okay.
just out of luck.
I'm out of luck.
Okay. So if everybody, because we'll see it, like we'll go through and we'll capture this instance. So we'll go in and say, okay, look, you're going to take your VMs, whether however many you made, 2 or 3 or 4, and then we're going to capture those, and we're going to make, if you want to, a new system suite that other people can use. So let's say you're going to train somebody. You're going to go through a training class where you're going to train all your operators or users or whatever. You get your VM set up, you capture it, and then you can recreate those instances over and over and over again, and let assign ownership to those particular users. Everybody can connect to them, their own individual little systems, and use them that way. Or you could just say, you know what, I don't want to make it a public system suite. I want to make it so that it's just going to create a new project and just replicate those over and over again. So that's what this ability gives you, whether it's public so everybody can use it, or just you can create your own access and grant access individually. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but in general, it creates a captured system suite, so you can clone them over again. So I did that here. So I configured it, or I cloned it. You can take a look at the history and see if you've done it before. And this one, I've done it one time, and I went through the process. So as you do clone it, it'll go through this, and you'll be able to see the process. If something goes wrong or whatever, you'll be able to see that. And you also get to see what you called it on the new one. So let's see, we got to the new one, and this happens to be this one here. So then I created some clones of it. So I wanted to add reports on this one. So it's the same application that's on this device, or on these devices. I think it's just one. Then but I also added reports to it. So I started it up, and then I want to connect to it. So to do that, you click this little icon here. It says there's one node here that's running. Click it. I can either connect to it one of 2 ways. I can download an RDP file, and then once you do that, you'll say, okay, well, you can download the RDP file. Here's the random username and password that's been generated. What you also need to do is that you also need to set up the RDP rules for that, because we don't want to make it available to the world that anybody can connect to it and hit it, whatever, with attempts to be able to log in. We set up a whitelist so that only particular users that are coming from a specific IP address can access it. And you can set that either globally, right here, and you can say, well, these are the people. I'm actually full right now, but these are the IP addresses that can access all the VMs on these machines, or you can say, just for this particular session, I want to set up the instance RDP rules. So just for this particular instance, I want to set that up. This is if maybe you have a particular users that aren't used. You don't want to have them have access to anything else. You just want them to have access to this. You can set that up that way. Or if you want, you can just say, just connect to the VM via the browser. So what this will do is that it will create an instance, an RDP instance effectively through a browser connection. So let's say there's situations, and we have this all the time at AVEVA, where if you're working in the office, the ports are blocked for security purposes. And so oftentimes the ports that are connected to, or the VMs that are, or IP addresses and ports for the VMs in the cloud, they're blocked, so we can't access them. And that's probably a pretty common occurrence. So in order to avoid that, you can either ask your IT department to open up that port or that IP address for you to access it. But that can be a little bit laborious and involve your IT department and can be a problem, or you may not have control of it. Maybe you're a systems integrator going to a customer site and you want to be able to access that. You may not have access to be able to let them, or authority to let them do that. So we added the ability to connect to it in the through a browser. And so if you can connect to Integration Studio, then you can connect to the device here. And this is it right here. So I've got it going. I can do all my changes, access OMI and teamwork and all the various components on the VM itself. Some of the cool things you can do on these VMs within this this browser connection is that there's a special menu that you can use to do things like file transfer. You can have set up a linkage to your host VM to keep files updated within your application. And so if you need to transfer files, not necessarily very big ones, but if you need to send your application directory or updates or little things like that, that can be done real easily. If there are large files that you want to transfer to the VM, like say you want to test what an upgrade is like. Let's say you've got a system that's on 2020 R2 SB1 and you want to see what it's like to go to 2023. Well, I can set up a clone system that I've already got and then download, just open up the browser and download the new version of the software and install that manually and see what that process is like, so you can replicate when that happens out on your production systems, you'll be able to see what that process is like. But again, you're on a VM in Azure basically, and you can access the internet if you'd like to as well. Another thing you can do within this infrastructure is that you can we actually just updated. They just removed it. So this is new stuff for me. So we just actually updated we're actually using a product called Thinfinity for this browser connectivity, and we just updated to the latest version, which is supposed to increase performance and things like that. And I just noticed that something was removed. There was the ability to clone a screen, and it looks like it's not there, or I'm just having trouble seeing it. Either way, hopefully it's for the better. Anyway, there we go. I think that just about concludes my demo of it. One interesting thing to note, if you have any questions regarding things like, well, what's installed in the VM, or what version of operating system is on the VM, or which version of SQL Server, the help file or the help section is actually very detailed, and it contains a lot of information that people ask. So the FAQs are actually quite common and updated often. Let's see here. So we have minimum. So this is one of the things I was talking about. Let's see, for each version of the products that we have, which versions of the OSs and SQL Server, et cetera, are on the machines. What are the specifics for each particular one when you select all-in-one or whatever, which ones are included. So a lot of that stuff is available there. Another really important thing that you can have is the user accounts. And this isn't necessarily just for Integration Studio, this is for Connect. So if you have any questions about how to add a new user, or invite somebody and associate them with the correct roles within Connect, this will give you the ability to check that out and do it quite easily. So yeah, to end off on a help file, is there any questions? Be free to answer them. If not, thank you guys for your time. And yeah.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat, but I think in theme of this event, when do you expect 2023 to be available as a default system suite in Integration Studio?
It should be very soon. We were working on having it released as soon as 2023 was available. It's 2023 and Enterprise available. We did run into a little bit of a snag with actually the structure of our system suites. So we're trying to get that fixed. That's our highest priority thing to get that out right now. So it should be available very soon.
All right, coming soon.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.